gonna continue to just stand around and let these people come get me and my children, then you need to protect us.
We understand.
Hey, babe, are you coming? No. Take the day off. I'll call in and say that you're sick.
I can't.
Don't be a pussy. At Amos, I used to date this ugly, well-to-do bootlegger. He used to like to take me out and show me off. Ugly guys like to do that.
I fucking tell you, you shut your fucking mouth and goddamn talking to me.
You wouldn't fucking hurt me!
Oh yeah?
Yeah!
Watch this.
Because you're fucking bitch! Get the fuck away from me!
So, hi, Melina. Is it correct?
Hi. Yes, you said it
Okay.
well.
All right. So, I hope you are doing very well. And thank you so much for coming on this podcast, on this show. Can you please tell to our audience about you, about your journey? Please tell.
Yeah. So I started, as far as an actress, I started acting when I lived in LA as a child. I was going to auditions and working with coaches for about 2 years. And I've been performing my whole life. So I grew up as a dancer. I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and being on stage and performing in front of live audiences really something that I've always enjoyed doing.
Okay.
And acting specifically, it was something that I just wanted to try. So my brother and I, we both got picked up by agents and managers, and we were doing the LA thing for a good while. Unfortunately, I didn't have success as a child. It was really difficult for me. I was, 9 to 11 years old, and I was a decent actress, a child actor. I got callbacks, I got double callbacks, even triple callbacks for major productions, and I just never managed to book. So that was really difficult, especially as a kid. It just crushed a lot of my confidence and made me question, whether or not I was even talented in this way. So I basically gave up acting after that, and I didn't touch it for many years. So when I decided to revisit it as an adult, which was 4 years ago, I think my motivation really was to see if I could even be successful. I wanted to prove it to myself that I could, that I had talent, that I wasn't, just this talentless person with a whim of a dream. And if I'm being honest, that was a really bad reason to be an actor.
Okay.
Being an actor, it's something that you have to have a very deep passion for, and you cannot be outcome oriented. So I've learned to let go of that motivation, and I've outgrown that motivation, and I have cultivated a deeper love of the craft itself. And I think theater was the main push for that shift in motivation. And I didn't start doing theater right away. It was something that I really only stepped into a couple years ago. But when I first started acting again as an adult 4 years ago, I just kind of got myself into classes again. I started networking a lot too. And the classwork that I did was really great because it was scene work with other adults. And it really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I worked with this coach. Her name is Teresa Bell. She's one of the top acting coaches in Dallas, Texas. And she was really great with just breaking down her methodology and really encouraging her students to use her methodology, which is called the Chubbuck technique.
Okay.
There's different approaches to acting. I'm not sure if you've spoken with actors about this, but there's different methodologies and different
What is
ways that
that?
actors.
Can you please tell me about this, like this technique you're talking about?
Yeah, totally. So this is kind of like the real nuts and bolts of how an actor is able to take a scene and bring it to life.
Okay.
So there's different ways of doing this, different approaches, different methodologies.
Yeah.
And the Chubbuck technique is one that's a little less known by actors or people in the acting community. And this is a technique that uses sense memory, which is a term for this concept of using actual people, places, and events from your life, from your past, from your current life, whatever it may be,
Okay.
to fuel your creative process. So it's, you'll hear the term substitution a lot. So if I have a scene with a love interest, I am supposed to take a real person from my life that
Okay.
would be an appropriate substitution for that character, and
Okay.
envision this person in front of me and deliver lines and act as if that person is standing right in front of me. So that was the Chubbuck technique. It was very heavy on substitutions. You're coming up with substitutions for your place, wherever your scene takes place. If there's an object that you have in the scene, there's a substitution for your object, which on a surface level, it kind of makes sense, right?
Right.
Yeah, like it makes sense. Like, okay, yeah, you're using real things from your real life to bring life, to the scene.
Yeah.
My problem was I got to a point in this class about a year and a half into this program, and I started having this very big conflict inside of me. So I was working with a counselor, a mental health counselor at the time, and I was trying to overcome a lot of trauma that I had acquired and accumulated over the last 10 years. And I kept having these thoughts of like, well, I'm literally paying this counselor to help me overcome and let go and move on from my past. But I'm working with an acting coach who's asking me to bring that stuff into my scenes and use all of that to fuel my performance. So what am I doing? It just didn't fundamentally make sense to me. And it seemed as though this whole sense memory idea was very dangerous and unhealthy for an actor.
Yeah.
I recognize that there are times where, a memory will pop up during your performance, and that's okay. Maybe it's a cathartic way to process whatever comes up, and that's fine. I'm not saying that that's unhealthy, but when you manipulate yourself to do that over and over and over again, to me, that's just not healthy from a psychological standpoint. And we all know that there's so many actors who, unfortunately, they lost themselves in their characters and they were never able to pull themselves out. They lost themselves in these realities and they never were able to pull themselves out, and they're no longer with us. So after about a year and a half of working with this coach, I had a friend in that same class who was working with another coach who was teaching Meisner. Okay. So Meisner is another methodology. I have a feeling you may have heard this name. This is a more popular approach to acting. Yeah, Sandy Meisner was the guy who started it, and he's no longer with us, but his legacy is just, it's great. It's a big legacy. And he really changed the understanding and the relationship that actors have with their work and their material. So just to summarize it real quick, Meisner is a methodology where you rely purely on your imagination.
Okay.
So you are living in these imaginary circumstances that you are just creating with your own mind. And you are living truthfully according to those imaginary circumstances. You are acting, behaving, being truthful to those imaginary circumstances. Okay. So this protects the actor because, again, we're not pulling from our own life. We're not using all these things that could potentially be hurting us when we are no longer performing, So this is more of an isolated, it's protected, and it's just, everything to do with the imagination. So that's kind of more of what I tend to use in my approach to acting. And there's some people who love sense memory, and that's their thing. And if that works for them, that's fine. It doesn't fundamentally work for me. And I believe that, cultivating the imagination is such an important tool that actors, even if you use sense memory,
Okay.
you still need to work with your imagination. So yeah, we
Everyone,
kind of got onto a tangent, but
everyone have own different style of acting. Some people, like you told me, these techniques, yeah, these work and these are great, but some other people have different kind of techniques. I talk
Mhm.
with other actors, they also said they have like another types of skill and all. Anyways, yeah, you gave the very good information about all these two
Thanks.
techniques, and people who will watch this, they will be learning lots of things from you. So
Yeah.
are you working full time as an actor right now, or do you work like any other things also apart from the acting?
Well, there's this statistic that only 2% of actors work. So I unfortunately am not in that 2% right now in my career yet.
Okay.
So I do have to have support jobs.
Okay.
And I'm currently working mostly as a brand ambassador. And that's more of my support job. So, different brands have events, live pop ups, things like that. And I work in the Austin market. So I'm in Austin, Texas. And,
Okay.
we just had this huge film festival. It's film, TV, music, all kinds of stuff. It's called South by Southwest. And people travel from all over the world to come to this festival. So
Okay.
I was a brand ambassador for a sparkling water company.
Oh.
And, I worked 3 days in a row. It was 33-hour total work week for me. But, it's just a really flexible job. And that's the key. It's finding something that's flexible to help you, make ends meet between gigs, between paychecks. Because in this industry, your paycheck could arrive anywhere as early as 10 days to 60 days.
Right.
So you never know how long it's going to take for you to get paid. And you never know when your next job is coming. So
Right.
that's the reality that we deal with. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I would much rather accept this lifestyle than work a 9 to 5. So I'm much, much happier doing this.
Yeah, right. So, like, acting is your passion, or is it just your profession, or both?
That's a good question. I think that it's more of both.
Okay,
Um,
passion and profession.
passion and profession. Yeah. So I'm also very passionate about spirituality.
Oh, great.
Yeah, my relationship with God is the number one passion of my life, actually. And I actually just had a conversation with a Shakespeare coach about this yesterday. If at some point I feel like acting is no longer in alignment with God, then I'm willing to step away from it, just like that.
Okay,
It's so important for me to have that spiritual alignment in my life. Right now, I feel like I do have it with my career and God. I feel like there is alignment, and it's taken me a while to get to this point, but it's easier to identify this alignment now that I've come up with my mission as an actor.
mhm,
So my mission is to facilitate stories that raise human consciousness and make people laugh. And
okay,
that's my motivation as an actor. And that motivation I feel like aligns with my purpose with God. So it's a good place to be, where you feel like you have um, this balanced approach in what you're doing. And I feel like now that I've really nailed down this alignment, more opportunities are starting to come my way. Since I moved to the Austin market, I moved to the Austin market December of this past year. And it's been really good for me. I've been doing a lot of extra work, which,
Mm-hmm.
extra work, it sometimes requires a little acting, sometimes it doesn't, but it
Right.
pays the bills and you're on set. I got to be on set for Walker, which is one of the biggest productions here in Austin right now. It's a television series.
Okay.
And it was the first really big set that I've ever been on. So it was a wonderful experience. I just did a commercial too, I think it was last week, and it was for a non-alcoholic beer company.
Okay.
And the director, he favored me. There was many people on set, and he specifically switched me in the position so that I would be right in front of the camera. He actually gave me an action to interact with the one of the featured
Uh-huh.
actors. So just really good things are happening for me right now. And
Great.
yeah, I think, like I said, it has a lot to do with that alignment.
Yeah, I can. Okay, so you said you love spirituality. So, what do you do for spirituality? Like, what do you do? Yoga,
Yeah,
meditation, or any mantra or anything?
I mean, all of the above.
Okay, all of
I,
the above.
yeah,
Yeah, I saw
there's
some of
a,
your yoga videos, and I saw your reels also, like where you are giving like very informative information to the people. Okay, so that is also,
yeah.
I think, the part of your spirituality journey, right? I
Yeah,
saw.
I'm really glad you noticed that, because my Instagram has been going through a lot of changes. I used to use Instagram the way most people do, where I just would post about my life, post about me, post about my experiences, my adventures, this and that, make it all
Mhm.
pretty. But I came to a point where I realized that I have so much more
Okay.
things of substance to talk about, and I have so much knowledge that I want to share with the world, and I don't want to make it all about me. I want it to be about educating people, and enlightening people and raising people's consciousness through my Instagram. So
Yeah, you are
I
giving
think
value to the
exactly.
audience.
Yeah. So, oops, sorry.
No, it's okay.
We
Okay.
can cut that out. So yeah, I feel like my Instagram, now it's also in alignment with, my mission as an actor too. And
Uh-huh.
I was talking to a social media coach about this stuff, and he said that, there's so many actors nowadays who they get cast because of their social media.
Right.
They get noticed because of their social media presence, and that's just the world we live in today. Like, if you're an actor, you can't just be good, you have to be able to market yourself. And having a lot of
Yes.
followers, which my Instagram is very humble right now. I'm not, I don't have a lot of followers, but I am gaining new followers every day, and it's based on the shift in the content that I've made, and the
Mhm.
shifts in my life that I made. And so, going back kind of to this whole conversation of spirituality, um yeah, I take a yoga class, a community yoga class,
Mhm.
that's it's actually very Christian oriented. And you know there's a lot of division on this subject of whether or not yoga is inherently, um I don't want to use the word demonic, because I just don't like that word, but a lot of Christians believe that yoga is separate from Christianity.
Yeah,
And
it's came. Do you know where the yoga came from?
well, the word yoga means union with God.
No, no,
And
no. The main yoga, like this, all these yoga asanas and all, where the
tell me,
history
please.
connected. It's from India. Okay,
Yeah.
you can read about it. And in the world, if you will go and check, even uh, there is a location called Rishikesh, that is the capital of yoga, and that is in India. Okay, most of the people from around the world come here every year. Okay, there is a festival also,
Wow.
International Yoga Festival, which is started from India. Okay, so
Mhm.
in India, you know, our rishis, and then if you go in the history of India, okay, so you can see it's started from India. Now it's expanded to the world. Okay, so
Mhm.
it's part of Indian culture.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
no,
good.
definitely.
Everyone should
Yeah,
do yoga. I also personally do it, and I saw that every my guest, okay, who I talk till now, okay, everyone doing these yoga, meditation, all the spirituality thing, like, and that is the power actually in this time, right?
I agree. I agree. And I think the world is opening up in terms of consciousness, and we are expanding our understanding of accepting other people's cultures and accepting people who don't believe the way we do. And the Christian argument, the fundamentalist Christian argument, is that yoga originated from the Hindu religion,
Yeah,
and the postures are placing your body in relation to Hindu beliefs, which is opening you up to demonic forces. I don't believe this. This is what the Christian fundamentalist belief is,
uh-huh.
um, which I I am a follower of Christ, but I don't consider myself a traditional Christian. Most Christians who would understand my beliefs, or rather, they wouldn't understand them, they would judge my beliefs to be demonic and heretical and blasphemous because I don't subscribe to a traditional interpretation of the life and death of Jesus.
Mm.
Um, so one of my main teachers right now is a guy named Aaron Abke. He was an evangelical pastor. He was a young evangelical pastor. He grew up with an evangelical father pastor, and
Mhm.
he followed his footsteps, his dad's footsteps. And he has this really incredible story of how he came to realize there was so much hypocrisy in the church, and he left and he quit, and he basically paved his own path of spirituality, and he has attained such incredible levels of understanding. I mean, more than probably any person that I've encountered. Um, and he absolutely changed my life. His teachings. He has. If I were to recommend something very specific of his that anyone should and could check out, he
Mhm.
has a podcast series called Mystical Jesus.
Okay.
He has about 13 episodes, I believe, in this podcast series. They're all very short, too. They're anywhere from like 10 to 30 minutes long. And he does have the corresponding YouTube videos if you prefer to watch the video format. I like to just listen to his voice because it's almost like a meditation, the way he speaks. So, I definitely recommend listening to these podcasts when you're driving or, going for a walk or something like that. And he everything he's taught has aligned with my spiritual journey and has aligned with the truth that I've acquired inside of me, the truth that has been revealed to me by God within me. So it's really beautiful to find someone who can validate everything that I've come to know to be true and everything that I've experienced.
Okay. I have one more question for you, like about spirituality. Like, what is the difference between religion and spirituality? What is the difference between religion and
Yeah,
spirituality?
it's a good question. And another one of my great teachers, his name is Bob Peck. He wrote a book called Original Sin is a Lie. The
Mhm.
subtitle of this book is How True Spirituality Defies Religious Dogma. So, religious dogma is antithetical to what Christ himself taught. Jesus was raised a Jew, but he was the first one to point out all the things wrong with the Jewish religion and all the things wrong with the leaders. And he himself didn't advocate for religion. He advocated for the beliefs and the messages that he imparted onto the world. And so I believe that religion is a human construct. Humans are inherently imperfect and flawed. Therefore, religion is going to be inherently imperfect and flawed. And so I believe that the relationship that you have with God is a very personal one. And it's one that can be shaped and defined by the understanding of other people in the world, but ultimately it's a very heart-centered, deep connection. And you're not going to cultivate that unless you quiet your mind, quiet your beliefs, quiet down everything that you ever known to be true, and surrender it all to God, including the religion that you were raised with.
Okay, interesting. Our session is going to be and in 5 minutes 30 seconds, but don't worry, if when it will be disconnected, we will reconnect again. If there will be like our conversation will be pending. Okay, so one more meeting for 40 minutes. Okay, so then we will add it and add
Okay.
those parts. Okay, so nice talking with you. You have good knowledge about spirituality and acting. What about like politics? Do you have interest in politics also?
Yeah, so with the upcoming election here in November, politics is kind of a big conversation right now. And I am very, very happy that we have an independent party candidate this year that is, I think he's going to change the world.
Which party?
This is an independent party. So this is kind of the third party. We have, our political party system here in the US is mostly people consider the big ones, the Democrat, the Republican, and this one's independent. So it's very rare for an independent party member to gain a lot of attention, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the candidate right now, and he is really gaining a lot of attention, and justly so. He is to me, he's the savior that this country needs. He had a long career suing big, powerful, corrupt companies who were involved and in bed with politicians. And he had a career of this. I mean, this guy he really truly stands for justice. And his career as a lawyer is evidence of this. So that's kind of his foundation. And he's also he is very much a listener. And that's, I think, what I like the most about him. Even if you don't fully agree with everything that he represents and that he's fighting for, he will listen to you. And that's the difference between the Democrat and the Republican candidates. Kennedy will actually take to heart what you have to say and take it into consideration. Kennedy's not tied to any kind of backed agenda like the other candidates are. And Kennedy is also, he takes care of his body. I mean, he's an older man, but he's very much into physical fitness. He takes care of his mind. He is sharp. He's aligned with God. He believes in Christ. He is, he has a lot of very valid opinions about what happened with the vaccine, the COVID vaccine and the COVID pandemic and all that. And he has a lot of really, really great knowledge and stances on that subject as well. And he has pledged to end chronic disease in the US if he's elected. I mean, this guy really wants the best for the country.
Okay, who do you think gonna be next president of United States?
Well, I'm a creator and my words have power. So Kennedy is going to be the next president.
Okay.
Yeah, Kennedy. I refuse.
Great.
My cat decided to say hello.
Okay.
She supports Kennedy too.
That's why she came.
She likes Kennedy. Yeah.
That's interesting. Is she like Kennedy and she came on the same?
Yeah.
When you talk about Kennedy,
the vibes were high. She's like, I'm here for it. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of pessimism about an independent party candidate winning the election, but how far does pessimism get us in this world? We have to believe, and we all have power, and we all have the ability to change our reality. So I actually am a part of the prayer circles for Kennedy. They're online if anyone wants to join. I believe you just look on his website, and it's all through Zoom. And there's a facilitator, and she kind of leads the prayer every Sunday.
Okay.
And we're all just praying, and there's a manifestation part of it too, where we imagine Kennedy as the president, and him being successful and vibrant and healthy, and leading the country to where we need to be. So I believe in the power of intent, and I believe in the power of prayer. So if anyone wants to join, I'll be there on Sundays.
You said Kennedy is going to be next president, as per you, and your cat also, because your cat came on the same time. So,
Yes.
why do you think Kennedy will be next president? Because that is a new party and new independent party. That's why, or there is something else, like people don't like the current president. What is the reason you believe that?
I definitely believe that this country is desperate for something different. What we've been doing is not working, and there's a lot of people who are predicting a complete economic collapse because there's just so much pressure on everyone right now. The housing market, the economy, everything, inflation, all of it. And what we're doing is not working. And I think that desperation is kind of pushing people to think, well, maybe it's our structure, the structure of our system, that's broken. And I don't remember a lot from grade school, but I do remember Thomas Jefferson. He was very against the political party system. He believed that this would just divide America, and it would create all these issues later on, this gridlock and this inability to come together and resolve our issues as one people. And he was right. We are struggling so much with that right now. People see separateness when they look into, out into the world, and especially in America. And we don't see people as our brothers and sisters. We don't have that Christ-like lens that we view the world. We see people as, the opposing team, this and that. And I think that's why there's such a nice spot right now for an independent candidate to come in and to bring people together again. And I think it's a tribute to our freedom. As a country, we're founded on freedom, and I think that we should have freedom from division. I think that's something very important.
Right. Okay. Great. And do you have interest about like geopolitics around the world? What's going on, like wars and all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about that.
I saw in your bio that you have connection with Ukraine as well.
Yeah, so my family, my dad and his entire family are full-blooded Ukrainian.
Okay.
So I'm half Ukrainian, and my mom is from Mexico, born in Mexico, so I'm half Mexican.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm actually a dual citizen of Mexico and US. I became Mexican citizen 2 years ago. But in regards to what's happening in Ukraine, it's very sad that humans are still killing each other to accomplish their issues. My belief is that if a nation has to kill other humans in order to accomplish their offensive rather than defensive agenda, that nation has failed. We are at a point where there is a big shift happening in human consciousness, and I believe that these wars that we're seeing, not only in Ukraine, these wars and this conflict and these massacres that are happening, it's really opening our eyes to the reality of the situation. And I think there's a big anti-war movement that's happening right now. It started in, a while back in the 60s in America, and I think there's a revival of it happening right now, but we're doing it a little differently. I think we're approaching it more with heart-centeredness and more maturity than ever before. So, the way I see it is children, when they grow up, they experience growing pains,
Mhm.
emotionally and physically. And I think that as a human race, we do the same. We experience these pains, and I think war historically has been one of those pains.
Right.
And it's a matter of accepting, if we don't want to experience this pain anymore, we have to keep growing. We cannot stay where we are. We have to continue moving forward. We have to continue expanding our awareness so that we don't fall into that same trap again. And so I think one of the people that I really like, his stance on all this too, his name is Ishan. I think I might be saying his name incorrectly, but it's Ishan. And he's an Instagram influencer, and he talks a lot about war, and he talks about masculinity, femininity, and he himself is his ethnic background is very much tied in with the conflict that's happening right now in Israel and Palestine, and so he has a very personal connection with it. But he has been able to step beyond that, and that's what we need. Someone to say, you know what, my people are being killed right now, but I'm going to step beyond that, and I'm going to say there needs to be no hate at all.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people, when their ties, their heritage, like, their country of origin is in conflict, it's easy to choose the side. It's easy to choose to side with one side or the other. But when you really start to understand this concept of like non-dualism spirituality,
Mhm.
you realize that we're all one. There is
Yeah.
no separation between you, me. The separation that we perceive, even between you and me right now, it's an illusion. And the illusion of separation is the greatest illusion of this entire world. I mean, we are all so connected, and it's been proven by science multiple times. So I, people would often say, like, with regards to what's happening in Palestine and Israel, people would say, well, what side would Jesus take? A lot of Christians kind of presented this question: what side would Jesus take? Jesus would not take a side. He would not side with any violence. Jesus was a prince of peace, and he sided with peace, never with conflict. So I think now more than ever, this is a teaching that we all need to focus on.
Actually, war is not the solution for anything. Okay. The humanity in war, the main thing is the humanity is dying. Okay.
Yeah.
People are not dying, humanity. Okay. So I don't support any war. Okay. It's not about
Mm-hmm.
like uh, these about these two countries. It's about any country. Okay. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
should be, with love. That's what I want. Anyways, you have good knowledge about politics as well.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
And geopolitics as well. So that's great. So let's back to the acting. Who is your like favorite actor or actress in Hollywood?
Oh, I should have prepared for this question.
No, any
Yeah.
two you can tell. Okay. The mostly
Well,
any actor you watch the movies uh, most of the time. Anyone
yeah.
you liked?
So I have a lot of admiration for Natalie Portman. I recently watched her in the movie The Other
Mhm.
Boleyn Girl. It's the
Oh,
movie about the story with the king who basically split from the Roman Catholic Church and created the Church of England,
mhm.
and the drama surrounding the women who were involved with him. So if you haven't seen it, I mean, her performance doesn't get more truthful than that. It's just she, everything that I see her in. I love her movie Annihilation. It's a sci-fi movie.
Uh-huh.
Um, every role that I see her in, she is so believable. and she always maintains this kind of like tenderness about her. She never like masks that part of her. She naturally has this like tender quality, and she's able to bring that with any of her characters. So I really have a lot of admiration for her. Let me think here. I'm trying to think of a man to keep it equal. Well, I will say William Dafoe, he's coming to my mind, obviously because he has an amazing career track record, but more specifically because he said something in a I think it was a video clip that I saw recently that's just stuck with me. And he says that as actors, the script, the movie, the project, it comes to us. And it has a lot to do with where we are in terms of our growth and alignment. And he says that an actor who, the question that you might have ready next for me is, what kind of role would you want to do, right? Or what kind of movie would you want to be in, right? And he says that an actor who has an answer for that is pursuing a career from a place of ego. And so he said that this is a very dangerous position to be in, because your performance is always going to have that. If you say, well, I want to be in a sci-fi movie, or I want to be in a movie where I'm playing this kind of character, that means that there's something within your ego that wants to be validated through that certain type of project. And that's going to block you as a creator, and that's going to set a tone for your career. So I'm really starting to like digest all this now, and I think that it's really changed the way that I look at the journey as an actor, because I've heard this too from like Jim Carrey. He said that every movie that he's ever done has been a reflection of his level of consciousness at that time. So, when he was doing, what was it? There's a romance, Eternal Sunshine on a Spotless Mind. He said that movie was a reflection of what was going on in his real life at the time. Same thing with, I'm blanking on the name of the movie right now, but The Mask. He was talking about The Mask, where, he felt like he had to wear a mask in Hollywood just to get by, just to fit in. Like it was like this big attracting force that brought, all the success in his film career. And it was just a manifestation of what he was experiencing in his real life. So that's the kind of alignment I want to have. That's what I'm striving to have, not for any specific role, not for any specific, type of project. It's really about surrender. And I think that comes with spiritual, beliefs too, surrendering my entire career to God, knowing that as long as I do my best, as long as I keep working on my craft and, putting myself out there, that God is going to give me the exact opportunities that I need in my life, and the exact opportunities that are going to help carry my mission out as an actor.
Cool. Okay, and what is your future goal? Like, what do you want to be in future as an actor? Okay, where you want to go? Any goals you want to share with me, with the people who will watch?
I mean, it kind of goes back into what I was just saying, where having this like goal orientation, outcome orientation as an actor, it just
The label.
it's just like, it's not ringing true to my soul anymore. It's about really being like present, and even just doing this podcast, like being present with this podcast and giving it my best here and now. However, I do want to do more theater. I think that I've grown so much in theater. The last show that I did, I don't even think I really knew what it was to be an actor until I did that show. I don't even really think I knew what it meant to act. until I did that show, and I'm so, so grateful for it. So, theater is something that I feel like it's going to help me continue growing in the craft. And that's to me like a good goal to have.
Okay. Have you ever had any kind of like bad experience in this industry? Bad experience,
Yeah.
which is you think that that was your very, very bad experience, and then you realize you should not be in this industry. Anything like happened with you?
Yeah. So I was looking for a support job actually, but I wanted something that had to do with acting.
Uh-huh.
So, in Texas, something that's big is they have these companies where mostly girls, but sometimes guys will dress up as a Disney character or like a princess or a prince or, something like that. And you go and you entertain for kids' parties.
Okay.
So this is kind of a big industry here. And it's really, it's nice work. Sometimes you sing the songs of the Disney princesses and, you read books to the kids. It's nice work.
Uh-huh.
But the pay is really, really, really poor. So I got hired by one of these companies and they did a costume fitting and they fitted me for like, I don't know, like 9 different princesses that I was going to play because I also speak Spanish. So there were some Spanish speaking princesses that they wanted me to do. And the fitting went well, but then the first assignment they wanted me to drive a total of 3 hours to be a handler, which is basically the assistant of the princess on the shift. And the assistant is just there to, kind of help out. And they wanted me to do this just to get the experience. And then the next party I would be a princess. But they were offering me like $10 basically to do this. And, I was really trying to work with them like, hey, maybe I can do something a little bit closer because Texas is a really big state. Like,
Right.
You drive 8 hours and you're still in Texas. And so I said, well, maybe I can do something a little bit closer. And the girl she was unwilling to work with me, and she decided that I probably wasn't a good fit because from what it seemed like, that's kind of the pay range. Like, obviously the princesses make more than that, but it's a lot of drive time. It's a lot of costume changing time. It's a lot of this and that. And, you don't get paid for all those things. You really just get paid for your time there. So, yeah, that was one of those experiences where like, I know my worth, I know I'm worth more than that. And I think that's been a big lesson too of like, filtering out projects. Okay, well, I'm my talent, my what I bring to the game, it's worth more than that. So that's something that every actor has to learn within themselves, definitely.
Any casting director or any actor, director, anyone ever try to take advantage, of you, like casting culture and all? Because I talk with many many female actors, okay, even a producer, and they told me that it's happened. Okay, so have
Mhm.
you ever faced or somebody tried to like you feel that yeah, that is not good and you just run away from there, something like any?
Yes, actually, something like that did happen. So I saw a posting on Backstage, which is
Uh-huh.
a casting platform that's,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super professional place, but for the most part, they do a good job of filtering out the nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember a casting they wanted like someone with a cheerleader outfit to be kind of like a model type, but also like an actress in a movie. So I actually brought my boyfriend at the time, and he's an actor too, because he felt like, there's something maybe a little bit weird about this, but we can go meet the guy. And the guy he was drunk. He had a beer in his hand and he came down from the hotel. It was like the nice Omni hotel in Dallas, but he came down drunk and he had a beer in his hand and he had this cut off shirt and his nipples were out. And we're like, okay, weird first impression, but okay. So, we sit down and he's like, yeah, so I'm from Beverly Hills. And he was just like, I mean, this guy was full of ego. He's like, yeah, I do these movies and I am he was going for almost what's his name? He's this man who's like really buff and ripped and he has like always a bunch of women around him.
Uh-huh.
He was kind of going for one of those types of like personas,
Yeah.
And so all these movies that he was making, he like showed me on his phone and I'm trying to keep my laughter in. I'm just like, how is this guy real? And he's like, yeah, like I have all these like women around me all the time and this and that. And my boyfriend is just like trying not to laugh too. And yeah, I mean, I said, okay, cool. Well, let me think about it and get back to you. So we left and, never spoke to him again. But it was just, and this guy was like a multi-millionaire from what I understood, but he was using his money to produce all these movies that no one would ever watch.
Okay.
And it was all about like building his own ego, as a fragile man. So dodge that bullet.
Okay. Any very good experience in this film industry, or like in acting or modeling? Any very good experience you feel like this is the industry which is for me, like very good experience you ever had?
I would say the whole journey has been a good experience. That's something that they don't really tell you when you're starting out in acting classes or schools, that becoming an actor and like really dedicating yourself seriously to it, to being a better actor, it's something that makes you a better person. You grow so much as an individual, and the fruits of all that labor has been such a surprise, like an unexpected surprise. Like, for example, I took a intensive workshop, and it was 33-day intensive workshop. The coach who was facilitating it, her name is Jo Kelly. She's based out of Burbank. And this program is designed for any artists, but specifically, I guess, geared towards actors. And it's a resistance to freedom intensive. So, most of us carry from our childhood, we carry attachments and traumas, and all this manifests as resistance in our bodies and in our minds, which prevents us from being fully free in our lives. So, as an actor, you have to be free when the time comes, when it's go time, you have to be able to be fully free and present in order to be truthful in your scenes. So this program, it really pushed me out of my comfort zone. One of the exercises that we do, the famous exercise, is we have to go around the street and ask 10 people per day for $2.
Okay.
And we don't actually take the money. We interact with them however is natural in every situation, but we don't actually take the money. So it's just a homework assignment that's designed to, again, like push you out of your comfort zone and just get you to grow in that regard. So, that program, I think, has really transformed me as an individual, and it has given me the ease with which I am doing this podcast right now, for sure. And it's also taught me about being grounded and present as an individual too, because you need those things to truthfully recreate a scene. You have to be grounded. You have to be connected with the work that you're doing in order to really live it truthfully. So just so many lessons, wisdom, that I've gained, and maturity that I've gained, I feel like, through the journey. And I think that's what keeps me going, even when I get no's, even when, I get rejection, even when, I'm struggling to find work. It's just, that's what keeps me going.
That's great. Any one tip you want to give to all your fellow actors or newcomers who is coming in this industry? Any one tip?
Yes, do theater. Do
Theater.
theater. Even if you want to be a film actor, TV actor, do theater, because the filmmaking process, the TV process, it's very disjointed. And in my opinion, it's so much easier to dive into a character, to get to know a character when you rehearse a production from beginning to end. And that's how theater rehearsals are. You do the script from beginning to end. Whereas with film and television, you go scene here, scene there. Last scene, we're doing it on the first day of production, and then we're going to go jump somewhere in the middle. It's very all over the place and disjointed. And so if you don't fully feel like you have confidence in the craft, which I didn't for years, and that's okay. A lot of people don't know what acting is when they're actors, and it takes years to figure out. I would definitely advise to jump into a theater opportunity, even if it's just a community theater, even if you're not going to get paid. If you can get paid, that's wonderful. I've been blessed with those opportunities. But even if you don't, it's like taking free acting lessons. And even just the auditioning process, most theater auditions are still in person, whereas a lot of what the auditions that we do today are self-tape, which is, using a background like this one and just the same setup here. But getting into an audition room, it's gonna push you out of your comfort zone, which is good. And that's one of the parts of how you're gonna grow in that industry. But definitely I think that, like I said, if you don't fully have a grasp on what the craft is, theater is gonna help.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. And like in this time, the AI is boom. Okay, artificial intelligence is also replacing some jobs in this industry. What do you think? What is the future of this AI technology in this industry? Because I saw right now AI can create content, scripts, can write
Mm-hmm.
book, can write a song, can make music, can make even a voiceover, or
Yeah.
actors, like testimonial videos, kind of, lots of things can
Yeah.
AI do. So what do you think? What is the feature of it, and it can change the life or something in this industry also?
Yeah, so I actually met a writer, anthropologist, but he wrote a lot of screenplays too.
Hmm.
When I was working at South by Southwest, and
Hmm.
this guy was literally telling me how much he uses AI to write his screenplays. He says he's like, I could churn like one screenplay in an hour, like a full screenplay. He could do it in an hour now
Yes, it's easy.
because of AI.
Yeah, I also
And
do use of it in many things. Okay, so that's
yeah.
why I'm asking, what is like you think it can, people can lose their jobs, or it's creating new jobs.
Hi, it's a complicated thing right now. I think because it's so new also. It's it's something that I think we're going to have to create a lot of boundaries around in order to
Mhm.
protect the creatives. I know that, Elon Musk has been calling for people to really chill out on the AI usage and, um, the furthering of AI right now, because we don't have that structure around it. And it's something that, like, there was an episode of Black Mirror that actually talked about this, where I think Salma Hayek is in the episode,
Mhm.
where this girl she's working a job and she signs a contract. She doesn't realize that she's signing her AI use of image rights completely away. And so she's seeing her life play out on a TV show. And it's like everything that's happening to her, she's seeing on this TV show, but Salma Hayek is the actress who's playing it. And, I don't want to spoil it too much for people if they want to see this episode, but it really makes you think, like, what is going to happen when actors don't even have to show up on set? They can just sign away the rights of their face to be used.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's going to happen to the actual craft of acting in that situation? So I guess the answer right now is I don't know.
Okay. All right, Melina, thank you so much for giving the time today on this
Thank you. Jasmine says thank you too.
podcast. Oh, and people learn a lot from you today. Okay, with this podcast, I also personally learn lots of things from you, and I will wish you best of luck for your future. Okay, in future.
Thank you.
If you need any help, okay, which I can do, feel free to reach me out. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm following you. I'm watching your videos, and I'm very inspired with your work you are doing. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, I have a message for you. Okay, that do not demotivated yourself. Okay, if doesn't matter, follow it. It's take time to do some, like if you're doing something to grow, it take time. Okay, for followers, everything will come to you. Okay, you have to just wait. You keep doing your best. Okay, that's what you need to do. All right.
Thank you.
So thank you so much again, and have a wonderful day and wonderful career. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.